because a lion was watching them for many days, and he was watching them because he wanted to be able to find them alone. If he could just get one of them apart from the rest of them, then he could devour them. But he was never able to separate them, all right? Because whenever they fed together, what they did was they turned their tails to one another so that whichever way he was approaching them, he would meet their horns. All right, whatever way. So they knew how to stay together, but he kept on until at length he succeeded in awakening jealousy among them. And after a while, the jealousy grew into a mutual aversion, and they started separating and staying a comfortable distance from each other. The moment that they separated, the moment that they were no longer connected, which means on one accord, one agenda, the moment that there was separation, the lion fell on them, each one killed them. And we know what the moral of this story is. United we stand, divided we fall. Now, to back up this story, there is a scientific principle that's called synergism. Now, by definition, synergism is the simultaneous action of separate agents working together, having a greater total effect than the sum of their individual efforts. So the power of synergism is that when all of us put our efforts together, when we connect together to do something, it has greater worth than if we were to add up what each of us would do individually. So what it says is more can be done in a team effort than can be accomplished solo or just by one person. But in order for the principle of synergism to work like it should, there has to be teamwork. There has to be. And now it talks about this particular principle. Turn to Deuteronomy 33 and 30. I'm trying to get through this. If you get there before I do, then you read it for me. Deuteronomy 30 and 32 and 30. All right, I'm there. How should one chase 1,000 and two put 10,000 to flight, except their rock had stole them, and the Lord had shut them up? All right. Now, let's look at Leviticus 26 and 8. Leviticus, in the opposite direction. Now, what that says, and 5 of you shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight, and your enemies shall fall before you by the sword. 5 chase 100, but 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. So that's the principle of synergism at work. So everything that we do takes teamwork. Look at your neighbor and say, it takes teamwork. And here's the second part of it. It takes trust. Mm-hmm. So every person in a local church is valuable and needed. All of us need to agree on that. And that's important because we often have people in the church that we count as they're trustworthy. I have a relationship with them. Then there are other people that you never speak to. Never speak to. I have been a visitor in the church years and years ago, and I always remember how I went to a church visiting and nobody spoke to me. Because all you want to do is talk to your friends, and that's on everybody in here. You, after service, you run straight to boo-boo. Now, y'all done been on the phone before church. You gonna be on the phone after church, and you have no idea that God has sent somebody in the church. You can't even look around to see, is there anybody in here that I may not have talked to? Man, I really want to. We're not going going to connect, if you continue to remain in your same narrow mindset, then I might as well sit down and call this night off. It ain't about nothing. You got to make a decision that you have to step out of yourself in order to connect with somebody in the kingdom. You can't say that you connecting and y'all are best friends who go shopping together, who eat at each other's house, got each other's cell numbers. She got a phone, her ring. When you hear your phone ring, that number, you know who it is. And I will never forget that. Walking in the church I had. Just moved down to Florida from New York. Didn't know what church to go to. Walked in, it was a Church of God church. Walked into church. I mean nobody. When I say nobody, I mean nobody. All that little stuff, welcoming the visitor, stand up there, that's just for that moment. Because after that moment, none of y'all don't care about nobody visiting your church. Now, I'm going to take it down. I'm going to take this a little step further so I'll make sure you don't invite me no more and don't like me no more. You know why our churches are like they are? Because God has sent them in. He said he will add to the church such as should be saved daily. God has sent people in the church. Y'all the ones that run the people out. You don't speak to these people. When he said a visitor can be persuaded by the friendship if you will just connect with them. All they need is somebody to talk to. Take their number, call them, check on them. Let me give you a story. Now, I was pastoring, right? My son, we went over to James Kennedy, D. James Kennedy, when he was alive, had some service with evangelism, something over at his church on Federal Highway. Now, my little boy, he was like maybe about 11 or 12 years old. Now, watch this. 11 or 12 years old. They got his card. They got his card with his address. Now, these are Caucasian people in D. James Kennedy Presbyterian Church. All right? Because we like to act like we the only ones. You know, we the only ones got it, and everybody else ain't got it. I just need you to know, don't be shocked when Presbyterians and Episcopals and all them people go to heaven. I just want you not to be shocked. So, Pastor, next thing I know, my son, they started calling little old white ladies. Now, we lived in what we call a black ghetto. Lauderhill. Lauderhill is famous. It's on the news. Lauderhill is famous. They call it Black Jamaica, Little Jamaica. There's so many Jamaicans in Lauderhill, right? Honey, it's ghetto straight up and down. I raised my children on that same ghetto street. Okay, these little white ladies, after they called, Christopher, how are you? They made phone contact with him. Then they started coming by. They drove from the east side of Fort Lauderdale where the ocean is, where the condos are, Federal Highway, where you go right down and you right at the beach, all the way out west. We're not near the water now. We have where the patties are and stuff out. Curry go, we way out there. And they driving out there, that you think they're afraid? They're knocking on the door. We just came to see Christopher. Then they kept coming. Finally, I had to stop them. I said, ma'am, I'm a pastor. He go to my church. In about another minute, all of us would have been over there. Because of the friendship. The color didn't matter. Our churches would be full if you, notice I'm not looking at that Newman or this Newman, if you would make a 5-second effort when they say amen to look around, go to somebody that is just visiting, somebody that maybe hasn't been there in a long